Welcome to the Acecall.ai podcast, where we help golf club managers win with AI. Running a golf club in today's world is harder than ever, so we created simple AI software and a podcast to make it easier for you. I'm Clayton Elliott.
And I'm Brad Milligan. Together, we bring a mix of entrepreneurial innovation and decades of golf club management experience to help you optimize your club, increase profitability, and elevate the member experience. So let's dive in.
Today, we're going to be tackling a question that's on every club manager's mind, but also really on everyone's mind in respect to their respective industries. Will AI ever replace golf club staff? Will AI automation ever fully replace staff? Different companies, different industries will have different answers to that, but with AI-powered voice assistants, automation, and all the different types of smart club management tools making their way into the industry, it's a very fair question to ask right now. So, let's be real though. Are we headed for a future where human staff are replaced by robots? Or is AI actually here to support and enhance the human workforce? If you're a general manager, golf pro, food and beverage manager, a golf club owner who wants to learn how AI and automation will be shaping staffing needs and staffing, just the job of staffing and training and managing staff in golf clubs, you're in the right place.
Yeah, exactly, Clay. This was an episode that I really wanted to do for exactly the reasons you mentioned. My hope is by the end of this episode, you'll see how AI can be an asset, not a threat, and why the human touch will always be irreplaceable in the world of golf. And hey, if you're interested in learning how AI can actually enhance your club operations without sacrificing service, call us at 1-866-838-8581. Now let's dive in, Clay.
Right on. Thanks, Brad. So as we mentioned, we're diving into a pretty big, it's not a debate. It's a debate. It's a debate going on in the world today, and everyone's got opinions about it. I have my opinions about it that we'll dig in future episodes of our, deeper moral, ethical opinions about AI and automation. But AI and automation in golf clubs, there's a lot of excitement, but also a lot of fear. So you as an experienced golf professional, what are your initial thoughts?
I've seen clubs embrace AI in some incredible ways, but I also understand why people are nervous. No one wants to see the hospitality and the personal service that makes golf clubs, that special disappear, right? We want that human interaction. It's a game of human beings. We want human beings serving human beings. That's the idea here. So the real question isn't will AI replace golf club staff, but rather how do we use AI to make clubs even better?
Yeah, exactly. And AI will not replace, I've said this before, I'll say it again. You'll probably hear me say it a few times. AI is not going to replace people so quickly, but people who know how to use AI will be replacing people. It's like someone who knows how to use a computer versus someone who doesn't know how to use a computer. And the world goes with the way of computers, and if you can't use them, it's a basic tool of business these days. If you can't use it, you can't get the job. So with AI, it's going to become more and more and more like that, right? The people that can use it and are proficient in using it will have more of a competitive advantage. Businesses that use it, more of a competitive advantage, and so on. So while I'm kind of bullish on AI overall, I will be the first to say that like full-on robotic dystopian worlds don't interest me at all. Robotic golf clubs, I imagine don't interest a lot of people, where you never interact with a human. All that kind of creeps me out, right? That future world. I'm not really into this is great tech. Now we should put it in everything, everywhere, all the time. I'm all for AI making things run smoothly in the background of life and existence and society, but I still want the human connection when I walk into a business, when I walk into a club. When I make a phone call, at some point, I'd like to have someone I speak to on the phone. It doesn't have to be the first person I speak to on the phone, but it shouldn't just be like lost in a sea of bots and AI assistants. So yeah, that's just my initial thoughts on that.
Yeah, like imagine that dystopian, that club that you walk into and it's literally all robots. Like me personally as a golfer, I couldn't stand that. I'd be like, this isn't what I came for. Because you kind of want that social appeal. It's not just about playing golf. It's about that whole social appeal. It's about culture, community, right? So there's a difference between AI enhancing a club and AI taking over a club. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Clay, before we get into specifics, let's zoom out. How has AI evolved over the last 5 years, and why is it suddenly such a big topic in golf clubs?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. I would say, AI in clubs, it used to be limited to really basic scheduling software or like digital tee time reservations. But, now it's evolved, and it's not really even AI. It's automation, right? A lot of these things, it's not a brain trained behind the scenes that has parameters it's on, but a lot of agency to kind of determine what is needed. It's hard coded, which is fine. You don't need it to go off the tracks, for these previous applications. But now that it's evolved into like smart automation, we have AI chatbots that answer members' questions, that can follow up with them, with the answers right away, but can also follow up with them. It can trigger their sequences as a result of these chats, and it can, retrieve data from the person's profile in the CRM, and have a very personalized, customized conversation with this person on the fly in real time. It's pretty powerful. And dynamic pricing for green fees, that's not, it's algorithmically driven, but it's not hard coded. Like it has to have the ability to pull from live data sources and come up with these dynamic fees, right? AI driven irrigation systems, even AI powered swing analysis and training programs. Like the reason it's taken off right now, I would say labor costs are rising. I would say members expect a more seamless experience, and AI has gotten way better at making operations more efficient. Like the first wave of this stuff, the 1.0, it wasn't making things more efficient. It was the learning curve was longer. There was more bugs, more glitches. Things didn't work. The implementation technicians, like the trained professionals like myself who have spent countless hours learning all this stuff so that we can quickly deploy it for people that don't have the time or the interest to, go up that learning curve on their own. So it's way better at getting results now. And so, where do I see the last 5 years? That was your question. The last 5 years. I'm jumping ahead.
That's okay. Okay. Yeah. So basically, it's not just about cutting costs, right? It's about improving the experience for both the staff and the members.
Exactly. Like AI shouldn't replace staff. It should free staff up. It should free up more staff to focus on more higher value interactions with members, right? Like every one of those touch points can really wow someone. And if someone's tied up in minutia, in paperwork, in emails, in voicemail, in returning calls, in fulfilling orders, right? There of all those other calls and, requests of people, it just takes away from the time, right? If you had people on full-time staff, most of their jobs were being done by AI and automations, and they're just sitting around like available. What are they going to do? They're going to interact with staff or interact with members. They're going to be available. If a member asks them for something, boom, they're on call. Now they have a task. Whatever that member needs, that's their task right now. And they're available to do it. So talk about a good member experience, right? They ask for something, if you're tied up with 3 or 4 different things, you're not going to be able to drop those 3 or 4 different things. Most likely, you're not going to be able to just drop them and go help this member with what they're needing done. But if all your staff are more lightly loaded with work because the automations and the AI is helping and assisting them with getting things done more quickly, then they are more available to be on call. And if there's not work to be done, they can be hanging out, talking with members, interacting with members, talking with members' son's birthday party, talking with the members about their recent business deal, whatever, right? This is all the relationships that like robots can't replace, AI can't replace. And that if golf club staff have more time, then they can focus more on those relationship building activities, which are some of the most, and I've learned this from you. This is some of the most highest value work that golf club staff can do, is nurture those relationships.
Yeah. That goes so far. And that's what I found, as there were more things to do on a computer and more computerized operations. And then everything goes onto computers, right? It's like, well, somebody has to do that, right? Somebody has to be there on that computer. So I just found, transitioning all the way from when I started in the industry to where it was like, pen and paper and, basically one phone line to the pro shop, didn't even have an email account, and all the way to where literally everything we're doing other than like playing golf and actually being out on the golf course and teaching, was all computer based, right? So I don't have those relationships that you're trying to forge with your members. And, if you have like really personable staff who shine in those situations, they're not being utilized effectively. They're not using their big guns. Their big guns are hiding away somewhere on a computer. So yeah, you touched on it. You're getting it. It's an extremely important aspect of being a golf professional, and just having good staff in general is how they interact with your members, that interpersonal skills that they have to have, and those relationships they're fostering, right? So let's get into the specifics though. Where is AI actually making a difference in club operations?
Yeah, before I want to answer that, before I want to exactly what you're saying, but it's like Cheers. Like, you want to go where everybody knows your
That's
name.
exactly it.
And it's like, obviously a golf club's a little more high class than the Cheers bar.
It depends where you go.
Depends which golf course, I guess, right?
Yeah, depends, man.
But it's like, you want to go where everyone knows your name. They know what you're up to. They know what you're working on. They know all about you and your story. They know, they can chat with you personally. And so anyways, sorry, repeat the question.
Yeah, no, good points there. I didn't want to rush you. But us, we like to yammer a bit here. So I was just going to say, let's get into the specifics. Where is AI actually making a difference in club operations?
Yeah, I would say, if I could sum it up into a few general categories right now, where I think this is going to make the biggest impact, areas that are going to be influenced the most, and where staff in these areas are going to be essentially freed up the most. I would say the tee time scheduling and reservations. From everything we've discussed, this is a big application of AI where it's going to have a lot of room to take a lot of the operational, the tasks, the documentation, the data processing. It can take all this over, right? So AI powered booking can ensure that optimal spacing minimizes conflicts and offers the ability to provide dynamic pricing. I would say AI powered member communication is a big one. Chatbots, voice AI, automated emails, SMS reminders that would keep members engaged without staff manually handling every inquiry. I don't know, probably a lot of the tee time software. What do you tell me? Does tee time software and from the user end, are they getting text message notifications when it's their time when it's almost their time? Or like, if someone's booked in like a week or two in advance, are they getting text message reminders like, hey, if something's coming up and you have to cancel, please let us know. Like, we can fill these spots. Like, is there any kind of ongoing reminder sequences built into this software?
Yeah. A lot of these softwares do have those things built into them. Reminders. I mean, they all have pretty good apps now, so you can hop on the app and just see when your tee times are. And then when somebody else if they book you into a tee time, you get an email. So there's some automation built into these, and I mean, they're all different, right? So there's different programs.
And that's pretty basic. Those things, like, it's a standard like scheduler app, right? You get reminders saying, okay, you have a interview or a schedule, an appointment booked with this guy, right? You get reminders leading up to it. But this can tap into like marketing. We've touched on it previously. We'll touch on it again, but the ability to customize email messages to each member based on their behavior with the club, with the pro shop, the restaurant, right? And it can really do personalized follow-ups and outreach. And the SMS outreach could also be personalized to their behaviors with the club, their interactions with the club, their purchases with the club, right? So another area, let's keep it rolling here. I want to keep this one 30 minutes if we can today. We can.
What a challenge for us.
No, but it's good. We have a couple of, notes jotted down on paper here, and we kind of go off script, but I want to hit
we just get fired up. We get fired up. We want to, we're excited about this stuff, so we want to share it.
Yeah. And so the other one I would say is for operations is billing and payments. So AI has the potential to streamline invoicing, any kind of automated payments, also fraud detection. Most software can catch up on this, but anytime there's a human involved in it, there's more administrative burden. So this can definitely reduce that. Course maintenance, AI-driven irrigation and weather tracking has the ability to optimize water usage, ensuring perfect course conditions. And golf swing analysis, AI can track player performance, providing detailed feedback. But, human instructors still need to interpret and coach the individuals. So this is just a couple ways it can improve the operations of a golf course.
Yeah, I personally, I love the course maintenance side of it. Like, I really like playing excellently conditioned golf courses, and I'm sure everybody out there can agree, especially in terms of the greens of a golf course, like how good those are. That's really where a golf course lives and dies. So I love this side of it here. AI can help staff focus on the big picture strategy instead of constantly micromanaging course conditions.
Yeah, exactly. And so one of the biggest misconceptions is that AI is going to take jobs away, but in reality, it can enhance a lot of the roles, right? A lot of the roles that we're just talking about, a bunch of other ones that we haven't even mentioned here. These are just the ones we just mentioned, the club operations. There's more than this, but these are the ones where I think it's going to have a big an impact where it can, I'm going to say replace people, but it can really cut down the workload of people in those areas doing those jobs by 50, 60, 70, 80% or more. So I would say let's go through some examples of business areas and like member facing jobs that benefit from these AI efficiencies.
Yeah, totally. Let's just take a look first at club managers and owners, right? So AI provides real-time data on revenue, right? So, in the past, like obviously you should be checking your quarterlies and everything like that and staying on top of where you're spending money. That's extremely important. But if you have that data being analyzed all the time in the background, right? That's a huge win there. You can see little tiny areas where you might be able to improve, and AI can help you with that. Tee time utilization. This is big for a lot of golf courses, especially private clubs where you're trying to keep the flow out there and have tee access, right? So some clubs have, they basically have walk-on tee times where you can just walk up to the golf course. If they don't have a lot of members, if a club has decided to keep it to a minimum, let's say 300 members, where you can just literally show up to the golf course and say, I want to play in 20 minutes, and you can tee off, right? So this allows you to actually see if that's feasible for your type of golf course. If you in fact can make that type of move. And then, showing exactly when your tea is being used the most and adjusting staff-wise for that as well, right? So there's all types of benefits to knowing your tea time utilization and member activity, and all these things help you make smarter decisions. That's the main thing, right? Can also speak on, the concierge and the front desk, right? So we have AI chatbots that can answer your FAQs, your frequently asked questions. But then you have your real staff, your go-getters, your interpersonal members of staff handling the high-touch personal interactions, and that's super crucial. Food and beverage management, got AI-driven inventory tracking that ensures the right amount of stock is like in your fridges, is being ordered all the time. Minimizing waste and maximizing profit. Got golf instructors and pros. So AI-powered swing analysis provides data, but human coaching is essential for interpretation, motivation, and mentorship, right? So your AI is probably not going to follow up with the person on a human level and be like, hey, why didn't you play so well in that tournament? What happened out there? That type of thing, right? That human touch that you're looking for when it comes to the games of others and how they're playing and how they're moving forward. Marketing and membership directors. So AI analyzes member preferences to personalize promotions, but you need those human marketers who create the messaging and strategy, right? And that marketing director, the membership coordinator, whatever they are, whoever they are, they usually have a very outgoing personality. They kind of know how to schmooze and that type of thing, right? And that's where they shine, not behind their desk all the time, right? So you've got event coordinators, so AI assists in scheduling and attending management, right? So, but event planning is still a deeply human creative role, right? So you need those human beings, especially when you have your events actually going on, having those people who can handle situations, especially if something goes a little south. You have a big tournament or something like that. Let's say it's a corporate event and you're getting rained out, right? Like that's a huge downer, especially if that's your one day of the year to have your company out there. You're supposed to be having the greatest time ever. So when you have really involved individuals who understand these situations, who have empathy, they can really take that kind of down moment and flip it. And I've seen some days where it's like nobody's going to play any golf, and we still get them out there for 3 or 4 holes. They have a nice dinner and everything's okay, right? So really, really important to have the human aspect. We don't want to get rid of that, especially with golf, right? So Clay, we've talked about what AI can do, but where do you think AI will never fully replace human staff?
Yeah. And so like all the roles you just mentioned, right? It doesn't sound like, it sounds like it augments and amplifies what all those roles can do. So really, I don't know. I would, to add to what you just mentioned, I would say, what are some other human driven roles, right? There's member hospitality. There's like the member, what would be like a role? Like member,
I'd say like your
member
backshop
relations.
staff.
You're like member relations, like what do you call it? Backshop staff?
Well, backshop staff are the ones who handle all of the golf equipment, right? So it's usually like summer staff and high school students, university students. And if you have a good culture amongst, those group of young people, that shows in the final product, right? So if they're enjoying their summer, they're getting a chance to play some golf, maybe they have some friends that are on staff, that type of thing. Because that's a touch point there, right? Often a member will come to the golf club, and that'll be the first person they actually interact with. They might go and get their bag and say, "Hey, Mr. Johnson, did you want to be set up on a cart? I see you're down for a cart today. Is that what you'd like to have happen?" Right? So like if you have somebody who's super outgoing, even if it's like, a 15, 16, 17-year-old, that kid is like, very undervalued, I think. And extremely important to have them, on the ball and interacting with your members on a daily basis.
Yeah. And I imagine a lot of those guys, they're not getting the emails. They're not sitting, they're on the ground. They're boots on the ground kind of guys. So their roles are not, they're not getting the emails, but I imagine when there's all these bottlenecks at the top with communications, with inbound member requests through the phone lines, whatever, if those aren't being handled promptly and quickly and in a timely manner, and the right people are not notified all simultaneously so the right person can kind of tap in and take over, those guys can do their job great if they're not just constantly having fires to put out. They're not constantly just being like, hey, Jimmy, get over here. We need to do this over there. And on the way to go do that, someone else is like, hey, Jimmy, can you go over there and go do that? Help this member over here with this. There's like, hey, guys, I'm doing 10 things at once, man. I can only do so many things at once right now, you know? So, okay. So I'm trying to think, like, what are some other roles? Like, it can't really replace anybody. Can't replace a general manager. Golf operations. So there's the director of golf. There's your head golf professional. There's your assistant golf professionals. There's your superintendents. Operations managers, are those like different than the directors? Do they do much different than the director? Or much different than the GM? Is the ops M?
It depends on the club, right? So some of them won't have an operating
They'll
manager.
They'll just blend the
have
roles.
a clubhouse manager. Some of them have clubhouse managers, and they kind of oversee the whole aspect of the clubhouse, like food and beverage, cleanliness and deficiencies, repairs, that type of thing.
All those guys can't get replaced.
No.
Course maintenance and agronomy. None of those guys can get replaced completely. You need someone watching the machine. If the machine works faster, harder, around the clock, you need somebody to be able to double check the work of the machine. So you might go from like 5 staff or 10 staff, depending on the ground size, down to like lose 2 or 3 guys of your least qualified and least like kind of needed guys, I guess. Food and beverage staff, you still need people serving drinks, bringing hot food out, interacting with customers. You can't really replace that entirely. Like all the applications we have for voice AI in the food and beverage department, it doesn't replace anybody. It just makes their jobs easier and the staff less stressed and the members more served. So yeah, like there's not really, I have nothing else to really add. So I would just say, like, for all these roles, AI can support them, right? It's like these personal interactions, emotional intelligence, and like the club traditions and the culture, like you mentioned, that make a golf club feel like home, you know? And so you can't really remove any of those things. So I would say the bottom line is, like, AI, once again, we'll wrap up here. We're just coming up under 30 minutes. So we'll wrap up here. I think the purpose of this episode was we want to alleviate the concern of anyone thinking this is going to replace people, but we also want to kind of, so how can I say this? Quell the excitement of anyone who thinks this AI is going to help them replace all their staff and not have to deal with any of their staff anymore. Like that, that's not, we're not at a place yet. And I don't think you're going to want to try to get there. Back to the whole idea, like the more things get automated in life, the more technology takes over, the more value people put on human interactions, human experiences, human to human experiences. And I think that the golf clubs that go super robotic literally have like Japanese robots, like serving the drinks and, fixing the machinery. Like, that's novel. Like the novelty of that will sell it for a year, 2 years, 5 years. Like, but eventually people are going to be like, I need some humans, man. This is like weird. This is like, like the robot should be in the back, like polishing balls. I shouldn't see them. I shouldn't be interacting with them. I shouldn't be talking with them about my divorce or my recent like partnership failing in my business. Like, I don't want to talk to robots about this stuff. I want to talk to a guy who's going to sit and have a Jack and Coke with me at the bar, and we're going to talk about this stuff. Like, that's who I want working with me, right? So I would say, again, it's at least in golf, no time soon will or should robots be replacing humans, nor will the AI that can come in. Like, again, if you have a staff of 50 people in your golf club, you might be able to eliminate 2 or 3 jobs. If you really wanted to and you were looking to cut costs and this was your goal, with the AI in place doing these certain functions, you could just go through your entire staff list, make a list of who is really not needed there anymore. What entire roles, not even individuals, just entire departments or roles within departments that are not needed anymore can be tightened up, automated, split up. It's designed to complement staff, but there are some staff savings opportunities as far as downsizing staff that present themselves. So I would say, but the main focus, once again, it's to allow staff to focus on what matters most, which is the member experience. Ideally, instead of entirely firing people, you can just redirect their efforts to really just maximizing the quality of member experience. Try to sum it up.
Yeah. Very good points, Clay. I think it's an important topic because people will have these questions, especially if they are running a club. They're gonna wonder about this, the longevity of this, and is it bad for the industry? But I don't think so. It's like the rest of the tech that we have, right? It's so many of these things have helped us, but there are some in there that obviously haven't helped us, and it's our job to discern which ones are actually helpful and which ones aren't. And the ones that are helpful will rise to the top and be useful, and the ones that aren't will kind of go by the wayside. So this is just part of that. Once again, we talk about evolution, the evolution of golf, and I believe that this is just another part in the evolution here. And I believe that this tech is important and a very valuable tool, and it can really, really help golf clubs shine and get back to creating that amazing member experience that our members are looking for. And again, making it an enjoyable place for staff to work at and attracting the best staff to your enterprise. So yeah, let's finish it up there. And if you're running a club and wondering how to balance AI and personal service, we're the ones to talk to. Give us a call at 1-866-838-8581. We'll walk you through AI solutions that actually enhance your club, not take it over.
Yeah, right on. I won't even add to that. So thanks, Brad. I appreciate you coming out and your time.
Sure.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, we will see you. Embrace the future, but don't forget to keep the human touch. And my name is Clayton Elliott, Brad Milligan. We are wrapping up episode 6 of the Acecall.ai podcast, where we help golf club managers win with AI. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one.